Welcome back. All right, so the highest paid player in the league this season is Connor McDavid, but next season that's going to change. Nathan McKinnon. Now, I mean highest paid as in salary cap hit. In terms of actual salaries, it can be different, but we're just worried about the cap hit. We're not the ones actually signing the paychecks. So Nathan McKinnon signs an 8-year contract with the Colorado Avalanche. He just won a Stanley Cup. He's a tremendous point producer in the playoffs, and he's a big game guy. So they signed him for a cap hit of $12.6 million per season. The bonus money out of that, according to Pierre LeBrun, is $85.34 million. So that's over the length of the contract, not all at once. Sorry, Nathan. And it expires in 2031. So it kicks in next season, and it will eat up, assuming the salary cap goes up by $1 million next year, which it's supposed to $83.5 million. That'll be 15.27% of the salary cap. So immediately I'm seeing a lot of, this is greedy, this is way too much money, he's not worth it. To which I say, did you not just watch the last few playoffs? McKinnon is a big game guy, and he plays his best hockey, I think, in the playoffs. So no, he hasn't had a 100-point season because of injuries. And his point production is just fine, and he is one of the leaders of this team. For Colorado, he's getting paid. And when you're a Stanley Cup winner and you're one of the leaders on that cup-winning team, I really can't argue against it. So currently, for this season, Connor McDavid makes the most. Again, with salary cap. Your cap hit is highest for McDavid at $12.5 million. So McKinnon at 12.6. And again, people saying, well, that's too much money. But at the time that McDavid signs that contract worth $12.5 million, it was 16.67% of the salary cap. So initially, that salary cap hit was higher, at least percentage-wise, than what McKinnon's is going to be when it kicks in next year. $86 million in bonus money to McDavid over the length of that contract. It expires in 2026. So keep in mind that we are in a situation where in 2026, McDavid's due for a raise. And this contract for McKinnon means McDavid will be, what, $15 million? Maybe higher, because we could see that explosive growth in the salary cap between now and then, which is going to make the salary cap hit for McKinnon look better. So yeah, McDavid is going to get paid in 4 years' time. And then there's Artemi Panarin, $11.6 million in cap is the cap hit. $74.5 million of that was paid out in bonus money. His contract expires in 2026 as well. 14.29% of the cap is what was paid to him again in that first year, because it's important to look at the amount of cap space they're taking up, because that's the argument, right? You sign this guy to this amount of money, you're not going to have enough cap to pay everybody, but good GMs should be able to figure this out. Then you have Austin Matthews, who also signed for $11.6 million a season, $54.2 million in bonus money. His contract till 2024, not as long as Panarin's, and at the time it was signed, it was 14.64% of the salary cap. Erik Karlsson, a contract that we talk about a lot on this channel, $11.5 million cap hit, $53 million of that in bonus money. That contract runs till 2027. And at the time it was signed, it was 14.47% of the salary cap money available to the San Jose Sharks. So what's interesting is of the long-term contracts that are on this board, of the big money contracts, Karlsson and Doughty are the ones that go the longest, not named McKinnon. So 2026 for both Panarin and McDavid, they're going to get raises. Karlsson in 2027 probably will not get a raise on that $11.5 million a year unless he has tremendous seasons between now and then. In between Karlsson and Doughty, of course, you have Tavares, who signed for $11 million with Toronto. $70.89 million of that paid out in bonus money. 2025 is when that one expires. So this is why when Toronto fans have this, well, we don't really have to, there's not really a have to win that's here. There's some urgency. 2024 for Matthews, 2025 for Tavares. This next Stanley Cup's played in 2023. So, yeah, there's not a lot of time left on these contracts. At the time Tavares signs this, 13.84% of the salary cap money available to the Leafs. And again, at the time Tavares signed that, there was plenty of people saying, greedy, too much money, yada, yada, yada. And yet he could have got more. Tavares absolutely could have got more. Then you've got Doughty, signs for the same amount of money. The cap hit 13.84% as well. $20 million in bonus money, so nowhere near the amount of bonus money for Doughty that was given to Tavares, but his contract goes 2 years longer to 2027. So for Drew Doughty, It is a long contract. I think Doughty's played really well, but again, it is a long contract. We'll see how things turn out for him. Now, Sidney Crosby gets mentioned a lot, right? $8.7 million cap hit. So I wanted to mention him here because he signed that deal, no bonus money that I can see on Cap Friendly. That contract runs till 2025. What's interesting is it's a 12-year deal with Sidney Crosby. At the time he signed it, it was 14.5% of the entire salary cap available to the Penguins. So that shows how if you sign these long-term contracts, they should age really well, especially with superstars, a la McDavid, McKinnon, etc. So we'll see how much these guys get when their contracts are done, how long McKinnon's the highest paid player, but I would think it's at least for this coming season, but being 2023-2024, because 2022-2023, he'll have to make do with his current contract, which still pays him pretty well. But it's been acknowledged that McKinnon was underpaid. Now at $12.6 million, I think that's fair. I think that's market value. I absolutely do. There are players on this list who took less money than they could have got elsewhere. I mentioned Tavares. Doughty, I think, probably would have got more if he'd hit the market too. Carlson, I'm not sure, but Doughty probably would have got more than that on the market because then you have teams bidding against one another. And definitely in 2025, when Crosby's contract's up and they're already starting to ask him about it, Crosby should get a raise. That being said, he's a team player. He may very well not get as much. But it is funny to hear now, well, he's a team player, and yet the 14.5% of the cap is higher than Doughty, Tavares, Carlson, Panarin at the time they signed their deals. Again, it's the fact that it's a 12-year contract. If Crosby wanted to be greedy, he would have signed a 4-year deal with Pittsburgh and then signed a longer-term extension after. McKinnon, 8-year contract, and again, I don't view it as greed because he has given them a discount for a while. I also will mention, though, at the time that contract was signed, there was some risk there because up until that point, McKinnon had not fulfilled his promise. Now he has, and there you go. So Nathan McKinnon will be the highest paid player in the National Hockey League starting in 2023-2024. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.